Hey everyone. Okay, so by now we've gone over chapter 3. We've talked about hand sketching, we've talked about the engineering geometry, and we've also hit on CAD sketching. To learn more about CAD, SolidWorks has awesome tutorials. So I want to go over the first one with you. I might make a few other videos later on about the other tutorials we can work on. I did email out the SolidWorks license keys, so make sure that you download them on your home computers if you'd like. If you have a Mac, make sure you check your emails because you should have got an email from OIT talking about a VMware Windows emulator, and you'll need that to run SolidWorks. So to begin, just open up SolidWorks and this document window will appear. We're going to just click Part since that's what we're going to design today. Once you select it, SolidWorks will open and you'll have your feature tree manager, as we've discussed, and your part document window. Since we are going to do a SolidWorks tutorial, go up to your top toolbar, go over to Help, select it, and then left click and select SolidWorks Tutorials. This window is not part of SolidWorks, so you can move it to a dual screen if you have that option. And we're under the SolidWorks tutorials. You can see that there are different tutorials for any level of SolidWorks you're on. So some of these will be class assignments and others will just be great tutorials for you to work on your own if you want to learn more. So if we go to Getting Started, we're actually going to start with Lesson 1, Parts, instead of the Introduction. It's a little more complicated. We'll hit on it when we go over patterning and circular and linear patterns. So for lesson 1, go ahead and double click it. So now you'll notice that your part will tell you what the lesson is, what the part is you're going to design, and what features you're going to learn about. So we're going to learn about setting up a new part document, creating a base feature, adding boss features, creating a cut feature, adding fillets, adding a shell feature, editing features, and then you'll have your completed part. This will also help prepare you for your Lego project or your course project. So down here, we'll go and hit Next Topic. So at first, some of these will just tell you what you're going to do, and you'll have to hit Next Topic to actually see exactly what you're going to do. So this first page says you need to click New, which would be under File, and then New. Since I just opened up SolidWorks, I already have a new part document, so you do not need to redo it. But I will save this, so you go ahead and go to File, and then Save as in Step 3. Find where you want to save it, and then go ahead and save it as Tutor1. And click Save. You see that the file name is automatically saved as a part because we're not working on an assembly or a drawing. So you don't need to change this. Keep it as a part and it gives you the right ending .sld part that you need. And then go ahead and click Save. Then I'm going to select Next Topic again. So it shows me what I'm going to design. Our base feature is going to be the first feature you actually design. Everything you build off of it is a boss feature. So your base pretty much controls the whole design since everything is built from it. So you don't need to figure out how to do this on your own. Go ahead and select Next Topic. SolidWorks will first show you what you're going to build, then you have to go to the next page to find out how to build it. So it does want us to click our extruded boss/base feature, and with that you need to actually start with a sketch. So I like to do it a tiny bit different. So it is saying we need to go to Features and then click our icon Extruded Boss/Base. Then this message will pop up saying what plane do you want this on. So it says select your front plane. it will automatically bring you normal to, and you can sketch on it. So you can go ahead, select your corner rectangle, move your pointer to the origin. Remember, you have to be attached to the origin so your part is not floating in space and can be defined. Left click and then drag it up. It doesn't need to be perfect because we're going to go in and dimension it. Then you can either push escape or the check mark to get out of the sketch feature. Then I'm going to go to next topic, dimensioning the base. So now I'm going to select my smart dimension. I'm kind of skipping step 1. It's just a little extra. We already have our relationships put in, so I'm just going to move on. If you don't see your relations, you can always go to View, Hide, and Show your sketch relations. So I'm going to select Smart Dimension, and I'm going to go ahead and dimension my part. So if I scroll down, you can see that it is 120 by 120. Since I use that rectangle that's corner to corner sketch, I only have to dimension 2 sides, since the other 2 sides will automatically snap into place being the same size. So click your line segment. Remember, click in the line segment, not the midpoint, and then just drag your smart dimension up and click down again. Now you can type in 120. Oh, I can type in the side one as well. Click that line segment, bring your dimension over, click down, and I'm just typing in 120. Remember, you do not need to set your actual units. I will say we do need to be in millimeters. So if you look down on your bottom toolbar, I am in inches. Since I've done one basic sketch, it's a good time to change now. If you build your whole part and you mess up, it does not convert. So if you change it to millimeters and your sketch goes away, just click on your sketch again, and this icon will pop up, Edit Sketch. So it does not just change over from 120 inches to 120 millimeters. It converts it to how many millimeters would be in that inch. So you can double click on your smart dimension and change it back to 120. Double click, change this one to 120. And then I can use my roller on my mouse and click it down twice. To be able to zoom in. You can also roll your roller backwards to you as well. Then go ahead and hit OK. So now we're going to go to extruding the base. So since our sketch is already open, we can go ahead and go back to our Features tab. We're going to extrude our base / boss. In the Property Manager, which is our Feature Tree Manager, you will just work your way down. So you don't need to change the sketch plane because it's already showing us how it's going to extrude. It wants us to change under Direction 1. So it wants us to select Blind in the end condition. And then our depth is going to be 30. Hit OK. You can see a preview of that as well. In the future, you can work on Direction 2 if you need something to extend this way. You can flip your directions if you need to. By just clicking this side arrow, you can always change if you want it to go mid-plane, offset it from the surface. You can do thin features. Watch out for that one because it will throw you off. And also you can select different contours if you needed to. But since we just want this basic square, I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. So now I have my boss extrude, which is my base feature. Another way I could have done this, instead of selecting extrude to sketch first, I could just go to the sketch tab and hit sketch. I can select this arrow over and hit my front plane. And then I could sketch it that way. So you don't necessarily have to select the feature at first, because sometimes you don't know what feature you want to work on. So now I'm going to go to my next topic of adding the boss. So it shows me I'm going to be adding this circle. I'm going to select this front face of my rectangle first and hit the normal to icon. It's the paper with an arrow looking up to it, because it's much easier to sketch on a piece that you're looking perpendicular to instead of one that is turned askew. So once you select that, it will bring your part normal to you so you're looking straight on it. So I'm going to select sketching and dimensioning the boss. So now it wants me to click the front face of the model. You need to have your face plane selected for your sketch. Then it wants me to click the extruded Bosch/Space feature again. I'm under the Features tab. If you are not normal to, like I already brought it, you can select the normal to option again. Now I'm going to select a circle, and if you slide your pointer in, the midpoint will appear. Then you can just slide it around on this side and see where that midpoint is. Bring it in, and those 2 points will just light up. It's very small and sometimes hard to see. Then I'm going to left click so I know I'm right in the center, and left click again. Now it wants me to dimension this circle using Smart Dimension, so I'm going to just select this dimension tool. I didn't need to exit out of the sketch since I was moving right to dimensions, but if I needed to add something to this circle, I need to exit the circle sketch and select a new sketching tool. So use Smart Dimension, and just like our square, you're just going to select the outside edge of that circle and bring it out. It wants us to set this diameter to 70. So now that is defined. I'm out of my Smart Dimension. It's still blue, so I want to know why. You're going to want to fix it to your point. So remember, you can select here, or you can come up to this view orientation. Your normal to is also located here to bring it normal to. Let's see if constraining the boss is going to show us we can use different dimensions to constrain it. So go ahead and select your Smart Tool dimension. You're going to select the midpoint of your circle. So when you're doing the diameter or radius, you select the outer edge of your circle and set what your dimension is. When you want to place your feature, your circle, you need to select the midpoint, because that's where it's going to be dimensioned to and from. So go ahead and select that midpoint, and then I'm going to start with this top ledge. Make sure you're selecting just the edge instead of the midpoint here. And I'm going to bring that value out. It wants us to change it to 60. And then once again, so now my circle is 60 millimeters from the top edge. I need to do it from the side edge as well. So I'm going to select that midpoint, and now I'm going to select the side edge. Make sure your Smart Dimension is highlighted. And bring that down and change that to 60 as well. And do you see how the circle turned black? Now I can look at my status toolbar and it says it's fully defined because it's all black. It's dimensioned. I can't grab it like I was able to earlier and move it around. So that is what I'm looking for. That's what you need to do to get all your sketches correct. Now we're going to go to extruding the boss. So we want to go to our features. We're going to select the extruded base/boss, and then it's wanting us to move your part around, so you can select this display style on your standard views toolbar, select down, and then change your orientation. And on the side you can see an isometric sketch. You can select that down arrow and go to trimetric. So now we're at the right angle, so you can see how that boss is extruding. Remember, work your way down. So it wants our end condition to be blind. It wants us to have a depth of 25. By merging the result, it's just making these two match up with each other, so it'll have a better technical drawing. Then you're going to hit OK. So now we have both of these features done. So let's go to the next topic, making the hole. So it shows that we're going to have a hole cut here. So you're going to go ahead and go to your extruded cut, still under the features tab. We're going to select the plane, which is the front face of this circle. Make sure you're selecting the front face, so then when we do our depth cut, it goes all the way through. If you accidentally select this front face of your base extrude for your square, then your cut you're going to have two directions for. So we're going to select the front face of our circle here, and then I'm going to bring it normal to, so select it, select your view orientation, and then the normal to. You can also use the shortcut on your keyboard as Control 8. I'm going to select my circle sketch tool, and I'm going to try to find the midpoint here, and then you can see that center point matches up. I'm going to click on that center point so that my circles are going to be concentric. Their midpoints will match up, and sketch it out. Next, it wants us to smart dimension, so I'm just selecting the smart dimension tool, grabbing that outside edge again, and changing that to 50. It instantly went black because I have the diameter set, and then you can see this relationship of coincident popped up because I sketched this inner circle on top of the midpoint of the outer circle. So that relationship gave it a place in space. Then I'm going to hit OK and go to extruding the hole. So you can turn it up here at your view orientation, select your trimetric again, just so you can see. You don't have to do this, you can cut it through, and you can hold the wheel of your mouse down and move it around if you want to see it better. But since we're following the tutorial, we might as well do it the right way. Go back to your features tab and hit that extruded cut. Since the circle is already highlighted, it automatically knows where I want it to cut. If it wasn't highlighted, you could just select that edge and then it knows which sketch you want cut. Then it wants us to set our direction 1 to through all, and then you can see that that cut's going to go all the way through. If for some reason yours looks like this and you're not seeing the yellow, it's because you're having the wrong direction. So it's cutting into empty space. So we want to cut through our part. So make sure you just select this different reverse direction arrow icon. You can see it will cut all the way through and hit OK. Now I'm holding the wheel on my mouse down and just rotate my part around. You can see it looks pretty much like our tutorial. So let's go to adding fillets. So we're going to create fillet ridges. So for the first, go ahead and select fillet under your features tab. We're going to select the constant size feature, which is this icon that's instantly highlighted. We're going to select the front face of our base, and then you can see a preview of where it's going to fillet. We want to also add in these corners, so the items to fillet on the feature tree manager will start to list out. So now I'm going to hold the roller on my mouse down to rotate my part around, so I can select each of these edges on my corners so they will all be filleted the same. This will save time, so you're not having to do these in individual steps. Then it wants us to change our fillet to 5. So right now it's at 10. So let's change that to 5. scroll down, you can see that everything is going to be filleted as shown here, and go ahead and hit OK. So these outside fillets are nice. They will add material while our inside fillet cuts away the material. Fillets are really handy because when you're building parts with 90-degree corners, if there's no fillet there on the inner corner, like extra material, then your part can easily break. So the fillet provides more material so that part's more sturdy. Let's go to creating our boss fillets. So once again, we're going to fillet this outside face it shows us. So this one is just showing us to go to our fillet icon. We can set the radius to 1.5. Then for our items to fillet, go ahead and select this front face. You can zoom in to see that it's going to be filleted on each side here by rolling your roller on your mouse down, or using these icons up here, zoom to fit, or rolling your mouse forward to zoom it out. Then go ahead and hit OK. Now shelling the part. So this is going to remove material from the back since we're solid right now. Since we already have this hole cut, we'll talk about this later in lecture, but when you shell a feature, it makes it so you have the same wall thickness around everything. So if we didn't have the hole cut, the whole inside would be empty and shelled the same. Since we have this hole cut, our shell feature is also going to shell that same wall thickness that's on our outside edge around our center hole as well. So let's go ahead to creating the shell. So you can rotate your view. You can select the back face just so you can kind of see it. So once I have it selected, I'm going to go to my shell feature. It's also located on your features tab. Go ahead and select it. You can see that my face 1 is already highlighted and selected. If it wasn't, you can go ahead and click that face. It wants us to change our thickness to 2 instead of 10. Remember, you don't have to change the dimensions since our whole part document window is in millimeters. And if you can't see the preview like shown in the tutorial, you can go ahead and hit show preview and it'll kind of show you what it will look like. Then go ahead and hit OK. So now our part is shelled, and you can see even inside that outer cylinder the same wall thickness is going to be in there too for the material all the way through. So let's go ahead to creating a section view of the shell. So at this point, make sure you save. SolidWorks will like to quit on you at the most inconvenient times. So first wants us, this isn't how to create anything, but this will show you how to do section views of your part. It's very handy when you have internal components. So go ahead, come on up here to your view orientation, select your trimetric view, then you're going to click your section view, which is on the view toolbar. So right here is your view toolbar. So go ahead and select section view. So it wants me to change the plane so I'm seeing it from the inside versus out, because I now am viewing the front plane. So you can see I can cut away the material by moving this section view. See how it's all put together. Go ahead and change the section view icon right here to be on the top plane. If your part goes away, don't freak out. You can just move it up, and then we can see all that internal features. So you can see how that wall thickness from the outside edge goes all the way to that outside cylinder, back to the inside cylinder, and around. The shell feature is pretty awesome. You can move this arrow up or down so you can see different sections. You can change your planes if you want to see what it looks like from the other side. It is a pretty cool option. So I'm just going to hit exit so we have our main part. This is what you need to have saved for your tutorial. We can also edit our features, so you can increase the depth of the model, modify the edge fillets, and recreate the face fillets. So once again, it wants us to select the trimetric icon, double click on your base extrude 1. So you can see that they're listed in order. Your dimensions come up. So it wants us to double click on this 30 and change it to 50. Then hit OK. Then we're going to select this rebuild icon. It looks like a stoplight. It's red on the top and green on the bottom. This will just rebuild our part. Sometimes, especially with bigger assemblies, you're going to need to click on this more often because your parts don't stay caught up to the changes you made, just because the files take up so much space. So go ahead and click that rebuild, and you can see that thickness changed to 50. You can also go to the Feature Tree Manager, double click the fillet, and change what the fillet value is to. You can take away fillets, add in fillets. It's also showing you that you have the chance to use the rollback bar, so you can roll it back. I'm going to turn this so you can see. So we have our shell. So if I roll back my rollback bar, it hides the shell. It's still there, so I don't have to recreate it. But then I can change all my fillets and roll it back down so everything stays the same. You can add realistic appearances. So you can come up here to our view toolbar and click Shaded. Then you can go to your View Settings, Real View Graphics toolbar, and assign a material. So come up here to View. You just have to find it. I normally just use this icon here because you can select different appearances, the color, scenes, add decals. You can add your real life appearances as well. So you can do so many different things with your display. So you go to View and then Display. You can have your wireframe, hidden lines, shaded with edges. You can do different section views, add stripes, anything you want. My Real View graphics is not highlighted. I need to download the latest edition. But you can change what everything looks like. So you could just select your Real View graphics, and then you'll go to Material and edit that material. You can also come over here and you're going to click on it and then right click and select Edit Material. And those graphic options will come up. So these are the different SolidWorks materials here. So it wants us to select or expand steel and then select chrome stainless steel. It all is alphabetized, so it's easy to find. You can click chrome stainless steel and apply. Since my Real View graphics is not hooked up, it's going to stay looking like this. But it looks more realistic since we have just the shaded option on instead with edges. So play around with your different materials and save this for your tutorial, and I hope this helped.